CBeebies Bedtime Story.
So, I've got a green leaf, a red leaf, and a brown leaf. Oh, hello, I'm Kimberley. I'm trying to find out how many different coloured leaves there are. So I've collected a brown one, a red one, and a green one, but there's so many different colours. Ferdy finds a little brown leaf in tonight's bedtime story. It's by Julia Rawlinson and Tiffany Beak, and it's called Ferdy and the Falling Leaves. The world was changing. Each morning when Ferdy bounced out of the den, everything seemed just a little bit different. The rich green of the forest was turning to a dusty gold, and the soft, swishing sound of summer was fading to a crinkly whisper. Ferdy's favourite tree was looking dull, dry and brown. Ferdy, visiting every day, was beginning to get worried. "I think my tree is ill," said Ferdy. "What's wrong with it?" asked Mummy. "Its leaves are turning brown," said Ferdy. "Don't worry, it's only autumn," smiled Mummy. Ferdy trotted back to his tree and patted the rough bark. "Don't worry, it's only autumn," he said. "You'll soon be feeling better." But the tree didn't get better. Day by day it got browner still. One day, as Ferdy sat under the tree, the wind began to blow. A small brown leaf blew off the tree and drifted towards the ground. Ferdy jumped up and caught it very gently in his paw. "Don't worry, tree, I've got your leaf. You'll soon be fixed," said Ferdy. He looked around, scratched his head and picked a piece of grass. He carefully tied the leaf to its branch and sat happily down. Just then, another gust of wind ruffled Ferdy's fur. The little leaf shook itself free and fluttered back to the ground. Ferdy picked it up again and thought very hard. Then he poked the leaf onto a twig and pushed it firmly down. "Now, you hold on tight," said Ferdy sternly. "No more flying around." The little leaf gave a tiny rustle in reply. The next day a strong wind was blowing through the forest. Ferdy rushed out of the den and ran all the way to his tree. Lots of its branches were brown and bare, and little lost leaves whirled everywhere. "Don't worry, tree," he called in alarm. "I'll catch them for you, I promise." Round and round and round whirled Ferdy after the twirling leaves. "Leaves? Wonderful! Just what I need for my nest," said a squirrel scampering up. "But these belong to the tree," said Ferdy. "Don't take these away." "The tree doesn't need them anymore," said the squirrel, and off he bounded. "Help! Help! The wind and the squirrel are stealing our leaves," cried a frantic Ferdy. "Leaves? Marvellous! Just what I need to keep warm," said a hedgehog rolling around. "But these belong to the tree," said Ferdy, plucking leaves from the hedgehog's prickles. "Not any more," snuffled the hedgehog, and away he rolled. "Help! The wind and the squirrel and the hedgehog are stealing our leaves," cried a frenzied Ferdy. This time a flock of friendly birds swooped down from the sky. They picked the leaves up in their beaks and poked them onto the tree's branches. Soon the tree was leafy again, and Ferdy flopped down and smiled. Thank you, birds," he gasped as the birds fluttered and chirruped away. He lay looking up through the leaves at the sky and drifted off to sleep. But still the wind continued to blow, and still the branches danced. The leaves shivered and shook themselves and began to wiggle free. They tossed and turned and twitched and twirled and tumbled to the ground. They brushed Ferdy's ears and nose and filled his dreams with a whispering sound. When Ferdy finally blinked awake, he couldn't believe his eyes. Instead of a roof of dancing leaves, he could see bare branches against the sky. "Oh, tree, I'm so sorry," gulped Ferdy. "All your leaves are gone." But then he saw high in the branches one small leaf holding on. "I won't let the wind steal that one," said Ferdy, and he began to climb. He wriggled along to the last leaf and held it firmly onto its branch. All day long the wind blew, the branch bounced, and Ferdy held tight. "I'll stay with you, leaf," he gasped. "Don't worry that all your friends have gone." But then, with a sudden whoosh of wind, the branch bounced high. With a whispered plip, the leaf let go and fluttered like a little flag clutched in Ferdy's paw. Ferdy looked sadly at the leaf, the tree's last leaf he'd promised to save. He carried it carefully down the tree and all the way back to the den. He made it a cosy little bed and gently tucked it in for the night. But all night long he could only think of his tree, all on its own. At first light he tiptoed into the chilly dawn. The wind had finally stopped blowing and the air was damp and cold. The moon still hung in the clear sky and pale stars glimmered. As he came to his favourite tree, Ferdy saw a magical sight. The tree was hung with 1,000 icicles, shining silver in the early light. "You are more beautiful than ever," whispered Ferdy to the tree made of ice. "Can the squirrel and the hedgehog keep your leaves for the cold winter nights?" A tiny breeze shivered the branches, making a sound like laughter, and in the light of the rising sun, the sparkly branches nodded. And that story was called Ferdy and the Falling Leaves. Are you all nice and cosy and ready for bed now, like Ferdy was in his den? Good, because it's time for you all to go to sleep, and I'll see you soon for another story. Night night. Now I wonder what other colours we can find.